Mirror Mirror Reflections session number 3. A session full of dark nights, armies, a pop singer, and a Kamen Rider?
I can see what's in your hand. Skullduggery, skullduggery, feeling just the pain. Killer smile, now I understand. Skullduggery, skullduggery, shattered hopes and dreams all fall down.
Yeah, it was a weird session, but with reason. This is the type of session I like to call a preparatory session, because I'm setting things up now that they're gonna pay off next week. And I, for one, cannot wait for next week's session, man. Like, I'm all giddy and excited. Okay, so the session begins with the players still in Duke Drummond's quarters. And the first thing they do is they ask the drow to strip to make sure she has no marks, because the player wasn't there last session. So she was a little bit weirded out, but she knew what was coming because she was watching the other videos. So no marks on her, so that was good. Drummond told them that certain things were gonna happen in town because a singer, a very famous singer, was coming to Mesinglamp, the town they're in, to sing, to give a concert. And the prince wanted them to defend her. Well, to make sure that everything was safe, because there were rumors of an assassination attempt. Okay. And they're okay with it. And then Drummond told them, and after that, I have another job for you guys. There's Marquis that hasn't been paying his taxes, and I want that guy eliminated because enough is enough. So they go into town to spend the rest of the night. They decide to investigate the church, and at the church, funny thing happened. I actually looked for the sermon. The guy in Skyrim says that the Talos sermon, and I played that while they were in the church, so that was funny. So they actually go there. Jack of Knives decides to sneak to the upper areas to check the office of the cardinal, because they still don't know where the bell is. So he checks the area. He finds that the office of the cardinal is completely empty and very, very clean. So he's a bit suspicious. While he's sneaking around, somebody actually catches him, and he confronts. It's a friar. He confronts the friar. The friar is scared. They talk, and the friar tells him the office is empty because the cardinal we had there for the last 5 years was a traitor, and he ran away on a demon horse. So we're cleaning everything up so we can then choose a new cardinal. And he was like, okay, now I understand. They get out of the chapel, and through all this time, Jack of Knives is finding small shivs around the town, and next to him and next to his party members, and he knows who it is. It's Jack of Shivs. Jack is a member of the Jack of all trades, and Jack of Shivs is a Jack that specializes on shivs, but so much so that he actually gets purposely caught to be able to send to jail, so he can make his own shivs in jail, because that way they're more genuine. Or at least that's how the player wrote it in his backstory, so I was using that. So they encounter him. The other players are a little bit annoyed by Jack of Shivs, but that's the idea of Jack of Shivs. They go back to the tavern. A lot of people are screaming that Angelise is there, who's the singer. And as they leave the tavern, a really big, tall, muscular drow with a scar on his face and a big great sword on his back bursts through the door, and they're scared. He walks to the bar, sits down, and they all run away. The rest of the people in the bar. The players, however, they decide to stay because the guy looks suspicious. And it was a surprise to the female drow. I keep forgetting her name. Starts with a Z. I'll learn it eventually. Anyways, she asks him if he wants to sit down with them. He, at first glance, he sounds insulted that other people would invite him to drink, but when he sees it's a drow, he gladly sits down with a big grin on his face. So they talk, you know, they exchange backstories, giving a little bit of character development to the drow. He tells her that he's a bodyguard for the singer. He's been working for her for about 2 years now. Then something funny happened because I decided to, you know, this guy's very strong and angry all the time, but he barely ever gets to see drow. So he was really, really happy to see another drow. So he starts trying to make jokes with her. And and whenever he makes a joke, he laughs at his own jokes, and he laughs like. And when I started laughing like that, the player that plays the drow Salbrez, she almost fell to the floor, dying of laughter. So it was a huge high point for me. Because he was weirded out, because like I would never expect him to laugh that way. And well, I told her he never gets to see drow, and he's really happy that he sees another one of his kin, because you guys are very rare in Oglinda. And so he goes on his way. He tells her, you know, that he works for them. If, you know, like, if they ever want to find a different job, he can put in a good word for them. So then the players go to Duke Drummond's place, and when they're with Duke Drummond's, Duke Drummond also, tells them that apparently the town is surrounded by people that want to attack Angeles the next day. And he had sent some scouts, and they determined that they noticed that to the north and to the south there are people, because the scouts came back. The other 2 scouts haven't come back, the ones they sent to the west and the east. And they prepare a plan that they're gonna barricade the perimeter of the town with, you know, wooden stakes and stuff like that. Jack of Knives has a very interesting idea, and he says, okay, I'm a better scout than everybody here, so I want to go and scout. And originally I'm like, dude, what are you doing? But, you know, if it's what the player wants to do, I'll work it in, because I didn't have anything like that planned out. So the other 2 players stay, setting up the barricades. He goes over to, he goes over to one of the, I think he went to the west. He goes to the west to check up on the other camp. He finds the other camp. One ranger went with him to scout with him. And he sees the camp, and then he wants to infiltrate it. And I'm like, oh man, making it really hard for me. And he's like, is there like an outhouse, like somebody that's gonna go to the bathroom? And I'm like, yeah, you know what, yeah, sure. So he rolls stealth. He rolls really well. I roll crap for my perception roll. So he actually studies the target and then kills him. Takes his clothing, puts it on, and then goes sits down with the rest of the other guys. Now this army, full of brigands, they're all wearing black tight clothing, black tight masks. One of the players says, oh, they're like ninjas, and I'm like, more like they want to blend in and be inconspicuous, or at least uniform, that they all look the same and none of them stands out, because that's the point, that they're very well organized and they don't stand out. So he sits there, he waits, and then I told him, okay, so about an hour passes, and you notice that on the distance you see like small balls of fire galloping towards you guys. And he freaks out because he thinks it's the guy with the nightmare horse from the last session. And he was right. It was that guy. And he tells them that tomorrow the plan is just to bomb rush the town, get to Angeles, and kill her. All those that survive would get an additional job from this guy. So the player finally decides, you know what, I'm gonna roll knowledge nobility on this guy. He rolls, he succeeds, because he noticed that this guy has really heavy full plate, really pretty full plate. He has a helmet that has bat wings on the side and it has a bat face for a mask. And I told him, well, this is Sir Melek, Leechless. And in my campaign setting, anybody that abandons their noble house gets the title Leechless added. They drop their last name, their family name, and they get the name Leechless. And it's Melek Leechless. And even though he's Melek Leechless, he is still a knight. He has been knighted, even though he is a Leechless. So the player is scared of this guy. He tries to gather some more information. He notices that a couple of other guys in that encampment are acting also weird. So he guesses that some of them, there are other spies there as well besides him. So they head back. The next day, they go to the perimeter of the town. They decide to split the party. One said, oh, I'll take the north. The other one said, I'll take the west. And the other one said, I'll take the south. And I had a different fight planned for them. But then they decided to split up. And then I had to do something completely different. Because the idea is I have something called horde rules, where a group of 5 players or something like that can fight 100 plus enemies, and it's still gonna be a fair fight. So I wanted to keep trying out my horde rules, because I have before and they work well, but I really like to playtest them and actually use them, because the idea of 3 guys fighting against 110 people sounds really cool to me, because, you know, Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings, or Lord of the Rings in general. So I decide, you know what, I'm gonna make this battle really easy for them. The people start attacking, they're running, and while they're running, the Cerberus is on one side, the Sorceress on the other side, so they start shooting magic at them, and they deal a lot of damage, they kill a lot of the people. And the other troops next to them are shooting with arrows, and, well, I told them to the north and to the south, they start, to the north and to the west, they start dispersing the opposing army. The Cerberus, who is at the west, noticed that a guy wearing black is also shooting magic, but is shooting magic at the other guys dressed in black. So she was confused with that one. Jack of Knives, however, since he doesn't have any big area of effects, he's left to just shoot with a bow and arrow and picking them off one by one. And they get to shoot him, but they only deal 1 point of damage to him. But Jack of Knives does notice that at the distance he can see Melek Leechless, which freaks him out, and he decides to climb the town wall and to hide behind the town wall. He's a cowardly character, which is fine. The Cerberus finally confronts the other person clad in black and asks them, "What's your gain in this?" And he takes off his mask and he says, "Oh, I'm one of the Druman's scouts." So they discovered that the scout actually survived and hid with the other troops, with the bad guys' troops. Then the next day passes. Oh, the brothel. They opened up a new brothel. Jack of Knives wanted to go to the brothel to find out, because he used to stay at the brothel a lot. But when he went to the brothel, the guy at the front stopped him and he said, "Where's your coat of arms? What's your noble family? Only nobles allowed." And he was angry. Jack of Knives was very angry. He said, "I want to talk to the matron." And the guy at the front says, "There's no matron here, only a lord." He is not a noble, but he likes the owner of this brothel likes to be called lord. And it's just royally ticked off Jack of Knives, which was fun. And he says, "You know what? I'm gonna have a few choice words for that lord eventually. Not today. I want to go sleep. It was a long day." Oh yeah, I forget that before that, while they were in town, they saw a caravan that was selling stuff. There they saw a Thorashian, which is one of the races in the campaign setting, to Stoutkin, which is another race in the campaign setting, and a wood elf, which is another race in the campaign setting. And Proja realized that that wood elf was an old flame of hers, a man she married without her family's consent on a under a different church, who a noble knows about and is actually blackmailing her. Is one of the disadvantages that she took. So they exchange, you know, they talk. She actually asks him, oh, so do you have something for your old flame? Do you have a gift for me? And I didn't have anything planned, so I decided that he didn't have anything planned, but he rolled bluff to see, oh yeah, I have something here. He rolled a 6 in total for the bluff. She rolled a 5 on the sense motive. And the player then tells me, well, you know, she really likes him, so I guess she would believe him. And I'm like, yeah, you're probably right, so that's cool. He gave her a small ruby ring. A small ring with a ruby in it. She got happy. Jack of Knives bought himself a cloak. Proja also bought a potion, and the drow got her weapon upgraded with a thin paper covering for her weapon that actually grants it 1 additional point of electricity damage. So she was happy with that as well. Then, let's see, am I missing anything important? I don't think so. Yeah, they fight. Then Duke Drummond tells them, okay, 2 days travel south, I'll give you a carriage. You have to go to a town there. There's some marquees there. I need him to give me back the money that he owes me because he's not paying his taxes. And they're like, okay, this is a job we can do easily. They had heard rumors of a guy with a red mask and a white cape helping out to the east of the town during the attacks. The next day comes, they travel south, they reach the town, and when they reach the town, they notice that the town is empty. Almost like abandoned empty. And at this point, Jack of Knives is like, no, I am not going in there. Let's head back and tell Duke Drummond that we killed the guy and we're done. And I tell them, well, the driver isn't too happy with that. He tells you, I've been working for Duke Drummond for a long time. Duke Drummond wants to head. He sent you guys here because he trusts you guys. Do the job. And they're like, well, the sorceress and the Sauberess, they're okay with it. However, Jack of Knives is really not going for this. It's like, I really don't want to do this. But he says, oh, Jonathan, the name of the man driving the carriage, if you want to go in there so badly, then lead the way. The drow decides to cast see invisibility to see if she sees anything weird in the town. And I told her, well, actually next to the caravan, standing there with his hands on his hips, you see a man with a red mask and a white cape with a skin-tight armor on, white armor with a big red stripe here and buttons on it. And she tells him about it, but I rolled a perception. He heard, so he ran away. And they were confused. They go into town. They notice that the town is empty, abandoned, very bleak. They get to the house, the Marquise's manor. They check in. Duke Drummond had told them that the guy was very paranoid, so expect a lot of traps. They check the door for traps. No traps, only open. They go inside. Everything sounds very calm, quiet. And I told them roll perception. And Jack of Knives, Jack of Blades, that's a bad guy from another game. Jack of Knives actually notices that he hears footsteps. And when he goes near the footsteps, he hears the footsteps going away. Now once again, the drow cast see magic, and she sees the red mask guy again. And she confronts him, tells him, "Who are you?" And he presents himself with a very, very heroic pose, saying, "I am Cassin, champion of the innocent." So that happens. They try to convince him to take off his mask. He eventually caves in, takes off his mask, just to reveal a blue mask, and his red stripe turned blue. And they're like, "Great, this guy's weird." They're like, "Okay, Cassin, you lead the way." And yes, I know that the whole Cassin thing being so rambunctious and very heroic, very stereotypical Sentai type of guy. Yeah, I know it's out of place. It's very out of place. Yep. But that's the plan. That's the idea. Same thing with Angelis. Because, you know, a pop singer going to the north to sing to the frozen wastes. Yeah. Yeah, it's weird. It's out of place, I know. Anyways, they go to the floor. Jonathan tells them, "I was here once a long time ago, so I know where the Marquise's room is, so we could check the Marquise's room." They go to the Marquise room, and they see the Marquise in the fetal position in a corner of the room, hugging a greatsword and just sobbing to himself. Jack of Knives says, "You know what? I take out a dagger and I peg him." He pegs him. Once he pegs him, he starts screaming, "Ah! The people! I didn't mean to! I didn't need all that money! I didn't need all that money! Where's my people? Where's my people? What happened?" And Jack of Knives is really freaked out at this point, and he just like stabs the guy until he stops screaming, and cuts off his head and stuffs it inside of a bag. He says, "Okay, I have the head. Let's go now, because I don't want to stay here anymore. This place is haunted." The sword is there. I said nobody wants to pick the really pretty looking sword. And the magic users quickly cast detect magic on it, and they successfully do their spellcraft checks. And I said, "You don't know what exactly is the power it has, but you know it's overwhelming necromancy." And they're like, "You know what? No, leave that there. We'll tell the Duke to tell the people in the church to come here and cleanse this place." So they walk outside, and when they walk outside, they see 20 feet in front of them Malek leashless on his nightmare horse. He stares at him, does a rallying movement with his hands, and a lot of troops wearing all black appear around him and surround the manor. Cause I wanted to do a horde battle, so I was gonna have a horde battle. And he screams, "Ah! You have foiled me more than once. Nobody has ever bested me before. You bested me in the siege of Mezenglamp, and you bested me when we tried to kill the prince. This is no good and will not stand." And Jack of Knives is quickly to say, "Hey, let's negotiate. What do you want to do? I can do it for you. I'm really good at killing people." And he starts laughing. "If I needed someone killed, I would do it myself." And Jack of Knives was quick to point out, "But you guys were attacking Angelis. You wanted to kill her." And Malek again, "It wasn't even about killing Angelis." So he revealed that the whole attack they were doing, the whole siege they were doing to Mezenglamp, wasn't even about Angelis. So there's something there. And I told him, "Well, roll initiative. The horde goes first, then the players, then Malek." The fight wasn't too long though, because as per the horde rules, AoE attacks that are concentrated within the horde deal half as much damage to the horde. And just like swarm rules, similar, but a lot of things go into it. Swarm attacks, they all take a lot of damage because they shoot with their arrows. Then the magic users go. One cast Flame Strike. The other one casts Lightning Bolt. Then the Jack of Knives goes and he tumbles through the horde to get to Duke Drummond and studies him for to receive a bonus next turn. Then not Duke Drummond, Melek, sorry. And no, Melek is not Duke Drummond, trust me, it's not. And then Melek points his sword to the heavens and black lightning shoots from it and hits Jack of Knives and the Sorceress. And they each take 1d4 negative levels. And that really freaked out Jack of Knives. Jack of Knives hits him. The magic users use their AoEs again. At this point, the horde is almost done. The horde attacks again. Then the players do their attacks again. And at this point, there's only one person in the horde. And when there's one person left in the horde, they kneel down, they put their hands behind their back, or they roll. I roll a morality check. If he fails, he runs away. If he makes it, he just goes to the floor and surrenders to try to plead for mercy. Oh, and at the beginning of the battle, Jonathan put on a ring and completely disappeared. And Jack is like, oh, whenever I see him after the battle, I'm killing him. And I'm like, okay. Casson is shooting fire at people and, helping out on the side, because I'm not going to roll for an NPC attacking other NPCs. That's silly. And then Melek, sustaining a lot of damage, decides to use the plane shift of his Nightmare again and disappears. And they notice that after the battle, Casson is collecting coins from the bodies. And they say, well, that's not very heroic now, is it? And he says, well, heroism doesn't pay the bills, because I do everything for free. A man has to eat. So he stays there. They don't wait for him, they just leave. Jonathan reappears. Jack is gonna, oh, I'm going to kill you. And Jonathan tells him, I wouldn't do that, because I told Drummond directly, if I don't come back from this mission, it's because you killed me. So if I die, if I don't come back, you're gonna be in a lot of trouble. And Jack of Knives says, that's smart. Okay. And they leave. They get on the carriage and they start leaving. And as they leave, I told them, well, while you're leaving, you notice a lot of the bodies are broken up, they're charbroiled, a lot of their clothing is burnt up. You notice the sigil on each and every one. And then I play the True Detective theme song. And the players are like, but what the heck is going on here? And at that moment just fills me with pride as a game master to see their face of frustration. Because I don't like to kill my player characters, I like to make them suffer psychologically. That brings me a lot of pleasure. Anyways, as they're leaving, they're freaking out, and I told them, well, there was a guy that survived and he's running away because you guys didn't stop him. And they're like, crap! And Jonathan, go after that guy. They go after that guy. Jack of Knives shoots the guy in the leg. The guy trips over. They confront him. One of the spellcasters is like, oh, I'm gonna shoot him with lightning. And like, no, wait. We gotta question this guy. And they tell him, take off your clothing. Guy takes off his shirt and they notice that he has a symbol over here. They're like, where did you get that? And he's like, when did this get here? I don't know what's going on. And they're like, crud. This guy also got control. And they ask him and they start prodding him for answers. What's the oldest what point in that you remember that you forgot about things? And he says, well, I remember I used to live in this town, but a beautiful woman with red hair gave me something to drink, and after that I remember needing money and getting out of the town because the town was empty. And that's where I saw Malek, and Malek offered me and somebody's jobs. And that's when we went to Messing Glamp. We went to the raid, I survived, and then I was brought back here. But I remember I used to live here. That used to be my house. Pointing at a general direction. And then the players realized the guys that we killed, they were regular townsfolk. They were completely and utterly regular townsfolk. We killed innocent people. And that just the look on the player's face that they killed innocent people. And one of the players was quick to point out, hey, it's horrible, yeah, but it was self-defense. I did it out of self-defense. I wouldn't do this otherwise. And then the guy checks his boots, he pulls out a small knife and he grabs the part of his skin and he just cuts away the symbol and he throws it. And they're like all very, very somber looking, and they decide to hit. They tell the guy to come with them, and they were gonna go north. And the drow said something funny. She said, "Oh, congratulations, you're the only population in this town." And I'm like, "Oh, that's cold as ice." And that was the end of the session. So this is all building up for next session. Because next session, I'm playing the next session is gonna be big. Next session is gonna be very, very big. And I can't wait. Like I already sit down and I wrote the next session. Like at the moment of this video, that session is 6 days away, and I already wrote it down. Everything I want to happen in that session. Oh man, I'm very, very, very excited for next week's session. Hopefully it will go well. Hopefully I won't have another moment where the players just go and do something completely insane and separate themselves completely again. Cause my word, originally I was gonna have a horde there, but you know what they say, no plot survives an encounter with the players, so there's that. But it was a fun game. Very, very fun game. The players did say that the whole Cassin guy and the whole Cassin guy and the Angelis thing was completely out of left field. That it didn't feel like what they were playing. The rest was with the whole Malek and everything. It felt like what they were already playing. And he told him, well, yeah, it's a living and breathing world. Not everything's gonna be the same all around the board. You know, it's a really big continent. Well, it's 2 really big planets actually. And well, you're gonna have all types, and some people travel north. Besides that, I do have something planned, and oh man, I can't wait. So yeah, it's a living, breathing world. The players are the main actors, but the world does not revolve around them. There are a lot of different things happening in the world. There are things CR25 around the world, and they're just there. The players shouldn't be fighting them. But you understand what I'm saying, right? That it's a living, breathing world, stuff happens. Because another player told me that Jack of Arrows, they also saw yesterday, in yesterday's game, he was gonna play backup for Angelis to be able to keep an eye on her. He was gonna play his saxophone. And she told me, I don't know, saxophone seemed kind of out of place for a medieval setting. And I'm like, well, it's not so much medieval as Victorian Industrial Revolution period, because up there in the north where you guys are, those are the poorest places. Those are the most effed up places in the setting, like economy wise and technology wise. But to the south, you can actually see automobiles. Though they don't run on gas, they run on alchemical liquids. But that's the setting. And I told them, don't worry, this will all make sense. But besides that, besides the whole Angelis thing and the whole Cassin thing, they really enjoyed the session. At least they told me. That's what they told me. And man, I enjoyed it as well. Anyways, until next time, guys, Remember, if you're gonna have something in your game, make it make sense. If it doesn't make sense, make it make sense later on. You know, have a contingency plan. Make sure that you can explain. Don't have plot holes, because plot holes are gonna, at least I know a couple of players, me included, that plot holes drives them insane. So until next time, remember rule number 1, always have fun.